Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another daily Walking Dead Q&A video for today after seeing the Walking Dead Season 7 trailer. First one for today comes from Rosita Espinosa, and here she says, Trev, what do you think is happening with Tara and Heath? So I definitely want to do a Q&A all about this one. We did do in the breakdown video, we went over the parts at the end there. But, you know, it's best for us to kind of, like I want to do, same with the Kingdom as we did yesterday, sort of just, you know, add into Q&As and kind of focus on certain little parts, because there's just so many clips in the second half of the trailer, and there's a lot of things happening, and a lot of it is very new. So this one at the end of this trailer reminds me of Season 6 with Daryl, with Always Accountable, where he's bound there, and he's, you know, and you got the sound, and he's trying to get out and everything, and you know, it ended up being its own episode entirely, but that was an episode 6 of Season 6, right? Always Accountable. So is it possible that this could be around somewhere around the same time range? I would tend to think it probably would be a bit sooner, because we know they left on their run near the end of Season 6, right? Near the finale there, a couple episodes before. When you had Denise in that, and she had, you know, a huge character death for Denise, or pretty big character death anyway. So we know they left around that time frame. So a lot of things have happened with the main group since then with Last Day on Earth. So that being the case, yeah, I mean, I would think that this one should be earlier than Always Accountable. I don't think we're going to have to wait 6 episodes in to see the Heath and Tara part. But I wouldn't be surprised if they used what's happening with them almost as an entire episode, or like, you know, part of an episode. Because Always Accountable was its own entire episode. There wasn't really much else in that episode, I can't think. There wasn't really... the main group, the rest of the main group, you've got Daryl, of course, and Sasha and Abraham, but you didn't have the whole rest of the main group. So something like that, you know, maybe like one other section of the episode will be taken up by another small group, but a good portion of it will be Tara and Heath. So, man, it looks really, really cool. You know, you can go to the end of the episode there and watch it a few times over. There's a lot of things happening in the clips. You've got zombies in sand. You've got what has a really cool kind of Tara being chased by somebody. You can see the lady there. She's lying down with the looks like a sniper rifle of some kind, shooting. And you've got Tara with a shotgun, and she knocks somebody out, but we don't know who. And then you've got also Heath, who's entering some kind of a camp or community or something with somebody behind him that I don't recognize. They've got like cornrows, and unless Tara like changes her hair up, it doesn't really look like her to me, but it still has black hair and kind of shorter, so it's kind of hard to say. Really cool. So some people have even asked questions like, do you think it might be kind of the start to the Whispers, Trev? I think it'd be too soon for that, even though the zombies in the sand do look really, really cool. But I don't see anything that would indicate that they're Whispers. But yeah, it looks like a new group to me, unless maybe they went off and some of the saviors went off after them or something, and then maybe they chased them out, and then maybe Tara and Heath have to fight back against them. But I'd almost want to say that, and they don't really know that Rick and the others have had to kind of surrender to the saviors. That's one possibility, but I almost would want to say I think it's like an entirely new group. It's an entirely new kind of establishment, which is kind of what I expected to see. I do expect them to add in some other things to kind of fill out the first half, because, of course, pretty soon, you know, we will be getting into all-out war as Rick and, you know, the joint survivors start to try to assemble some kind of, you know, force to fight back against Negan and the Saviors, because, of course, Rick isn't going to take, you know, what happened lying down. So I'm really excited to see the Tara and Heath part. It looks great. It really does look good, and I can't wait to see it in an episode. It looks really intense. Maybe has a bit of a Predator feel there in the forest and everything. It just looks really cool, and you know, the shotgun and you know, guns flying and zombies coming in. You know, all the good stuff that makes The Walking Dead so awesome. So I think I would probably go with a new group. We'll see. You guys can write your comments below. Do you think it's Saviors that are after them? Do you think it's a new group that they got into it with? And some pretty cool parts there. You got her like running on top of something on the bridge, and you've got Heath, he's shooting at some, and it just, man, it looks really, really good. So, and it's interesting that they chose that for the after credits sequence, because last year it being Daryl, it's like kind of like, is Tara an A-list character now? Is she kind of getting close? Is she a B-list character? She's had Denise killed off, which kind of puts more focus on her because she's lost somebody else, this kind of deal. And I'd almost say that maybe I put Tara as like a B-plus list type character, maybe not an A-list character yet, but if she survives for a few more seasons and she gets a few of her own kind of spotlight episodes, you could be looking at her as closer to an A-list. I'd put her at B right now, though, I think. Next one's from Sean Gallagher, and he says, "Hey, Trev, Q&A. In the trailer around 1:55, we hear Negan say, 'You should know there is no door number 4.' What do you think he means by this? It's obvious, anyone's guess who he says this to, but I can't seem to make sense what it actually means." And there's also some discussion, which I haven't weighed in on, about someone standing behind him when he's kind of, smiling and talking there around that time frame. And I can't tell who it is. Some people, at first, people thought it was Maggie. It's not Maggie. The hair's too long. Maggie just cut her hair. Some people think it's Daryl. The nose doesn't really look like Nora Reedus to me. So maybe it's just, a savior is what I would think. But I think he's just like, Negan's. He's strict with the rules. This is what you have to do. These are your choices. You don't have much of a choice. So it's a free will limitation argument, right? So in any of us, we have choices. We have free will. We have the ability to choose. Are we going to listen to Negan? Are we going to run? Or are we going to fight back, right? He shows them that your fighting back option is not really an option. I mean, all that's going to happen is you're just going to get yourself killed. So you take that out of kind of, you more limit the free will. So it's all about control for Negan, putting people in place so that he creates a structure which controls them and their behavior and what they can or can't do. So he limits their free will and their ability. So they could still run, which we saw Dwight try and do, and then Wade came after him, which will be the next question here. Wade came after him and brought him back, and then they punished him. Negan punished him and burned his face, right, in season 6. So, it's, to me, it's a statement about free will, really. Anytime you hear someone say something, guys, you always have to deep dive. You always have to go into what's the meaning, what are they really saying when they're saying that. So, there is no door number 4. So to me, that's what it would mean to me, is that he's letting whoever it is know. We don't know. It could be Rick, maybe in the premiere, that he really doesn't have much of a choice. You should know this is pretty much what you have to do. There's no door number 4. There's no other option, really. Next one is from Scott Bagliore, and we'll do a couple more. And he says, "Hey, Trev, Q&A, do you think we will ever meet Wade? He was the guy looking for Dwight in Always Accountable, and he seemed like a higher up in the Saviors. All we saw was his boots, and Dwight had a brief conversation with him." This is from Scott Bagliore. And then I looked this one up on the wiki because it's been a bit since I've seen Always Accountable, so I could see the pants and I could see, the belt and everything like that. And apparently, according to the wiki, he's played by Darin Cooper, who I don't know. You guys can look him up on Google if you want to and see what he looks like. I didn't see him in the finale as leading one of the groups. Maybe I got to look more closely, but there's a lot of saviors. It's really tough to say sometimes. But to me, his build and the clothes he's wearing almost looks like Stephen Ogg's character, Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just made his character Wade, unless they had Darin Cooper return and then actually play another leader in the Saviors of another group. It'd be weird if we never saw him again because the name was kind of spotlighted, but we don't have an official name for Stephen Ogg's character yet, I don't think. I haven't combed through all of the interviews from San Diego Comic-Con yet because I've been making videos with you guys and all that good stuff. So I'll have to look through it. But write your comments below, guys. If you've heard, if there's, I don't know, a trading card or something. Somebody told me that on the Walking Dead trading cards, the Savior who was leading the bike group, his name was Bud. I think that's what he said on the trading cards. But if you didn't have the trading card, you wouldn't know that. So there's no way to know it otherwise. So if anyone knows Stephen Ogg's character's name yet, write it in the comments below and let us know if he is Wade or if someone else is Wade. We know the actors are different, but the clothing is very similar. Belt is even pretty similar, and the build is fairly similar. Stephen Ogg's pretty skinny, so it's pretty similar too. He's awesome, man. I can't wait to see a lot of him this season. He's a great choice, man. I'm really happy they brought him on board. Sometimes they get perfect casts for The Walking Dead. So overall, the casting's really good for Walking Dead. There isn't hardly anybody they cast that I was like, oh, this person sucks, and then they did suck. Not really. It's pretty solid most of the way through. Kyle Collins says, we'll do this one and just one more. Trev, what do you rate The Walking Dead out of 10? So my rating out of 10. Now, it depends what you're talking about. Comic book series, I'd probably give a straight 10 to, because compared to most comic books and the amount of time it's been going, how faithful Kirkman has been to the readers and how he's been so consistent. He hasn't gone on hiatuses like a lot of other writers do with anime and manga. Those are long running too. A lot of those series are really long running. And he's just really been there for his readers. He's had it consistently released. And, compared to Marvel and DC that keep rebooting, rebirthing things over and over again 100 times, which is, it's a different type of deal. I get it. They want to sell as many number ones issues as they can. If they reboot it, it boosts sales because there's a new number one all the time. But it's great to see Kirkman just release it. Now we're in the 150s, and soon we'll be in the 160s, and then we'll be in 200s in a couple years. It's just awesome to see his dedication. So for the comic books compared to most, I'd have to give that a 10. The TV series, it'd be close to a 10 too. There certainly are episodes like No Way Out that are 10s, but there are episodes like Still that are a little bit weaker, so I don't think you can give it a perfect 10. Again, this is more of a critique type deal. So I'd probably go with 9.5, something like that, 9.6. It's a great series. It has a few episodes here and there that definitely aren't perfect, but the fun factor wise, it's got that X factor that it's hard to put into words. The way that they make you feel about the characters, the way you get invested in Rick and the others. Oh man, what an amazing show, and definitely my favorite of all time for sure. Bob G says, and this will be the last one for this one, Trev, Q&A, wanted to ask you this question that's on my mind. In the Walking Dead comics, there is a 2-year time skip after All Out War, which will be in a couple seasons. We're coming up on it soon. Probably about season 9-ish, roughly, depending on how much they add in or take out and how it translates or adapts. How do you think the TV show will do the time skip? So this is what I think they should do. I think they should use it for a season. I really do. I know a lot of people will be like, Trev, it won't be or it won't be exactly like the comics, this kind of deal. I know, but we don't want the TV series to catch up to the comics. That's always bad for the most part. There's certain occasions where it's okay and then the TV series goes its own direction and it works out just fine. But generally speaking, it's probably best if they stay behind the comic book series releases and they don't catch up. As such, the time skip is a big time skip. There's a lot of things that happen during the time skip, and I would like to see them. At least, maybe half a season of a time skip, something like that. Season 4 probably had at least half the season was extended or add-ins, this kind of deal. I think they should really use that time skip. If Rick and Michonne are going to get married, show us them getting married. That's a great moment, and that's something you could put in a premiere, and all the girlies will go crazy, and everybody will love it. So, there's all kinds of stuff you could do. You could add in another group of villains in there somewhere. You probably want to do it for the long-term, stability of the show. Season 3s are great, but they're not good for the show long term, because then it catches up to the comics and it creates chaos and it creates too much going through too much. The writing gets all crazy, and then you never, next thing you know, an A-lister gets killed off that shouldn't be killed off, and then someone gets fired. So it's best to spread the stuff out for the longevity of the show, and that's what's, I think, best for us as fans, to keep coming back. And that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. We'll probably have another one tomorrow or the next day. Got to do a Game of Thrones video soon, too, because Game of Thrones fans are getting angry. If you guys like the video, please don't forget to thumb it up. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. Thanks for all your support, guys. We just hit 100 million views. Awesome. So thanks, guys, for everything. And I'll see you soon. It's always just Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya. You can share, you can favorite, you can subscribe. Hell, you're all going to be doing that.